up, guys? David Bay here from musculardevelopment.com. We are bringing back our MD Training 101 series. Basically, guys, as you very well know, between our Facebook page, everybody checking out musculardevelopment.com and the No Bull forums, we have got countless guys who are either experienced bodybuilders, weight trainers, have been in the game for a long time. But what we don't want to forget at Muscular Development is the people just getting started. Whether you're just getting started in a weight training career, looking to get into a bodybuilding competition, or just be your best self, basics are always the foundation of a good routine, and that's what we want to help you guys out with, is to show you some of the basics here. So we're going to get started here today. Going to go through some bicep exercises, give you a sample bicep routine, and hopefully get you guys started off on the right foot. All right, guys, we're going to start today off with the barbell curl. Now, this is the most basic of the bicep exercises. As 8-time Mr. Olympia Lee Haney once said, the barbell curl is the bread and butter of the bicep exercises. He couldn't be more true. Now, the great thing about this particular exercise is whether you're training at a state-of-the-art facility like this new Crunch Fitness here in Appleton, Wisconsin, or somebody's garage or basement, you're likely going to have the equipment that you need to do the barbell curls. Now, we're going to get started with some basic principles of the barbell curl. Guys, this might seem like one of the easiest exercises to do, and it is, but we still see guys doing it wrong sometimes. And usually when we see errors in the barbell curl, it has more to do with ego than anything else. We're going to start off here pretty light, guys, so I can just go through some of the motions, give you some examples here. I'm going to start with an actual straight bar. They do have easy curl bar options here at Crunch Fitness and at a lot of gyms. Some guys tend to find it a little bit easier on their wrist if they use the easy curl bar. I don't really have much of a preference one way or the other, so I like to mix it up. Now, when you're doing the bicep curl, one thing you want to focus on, is not using your lower back too much. It's the number one mistake that we see with the barbell curl is guys swinging the weight. They use a little bit too much weight, they're letting their ego do the work, and they end up swinging the weight like this to get it up. Now remember, the idea is to work the muscle, to build the muscle, not the lower back in a curl. So you want to maintain relatively strict form. Some guys will go as far as to put their back up against the wall when they do this particular exercise. I tend not to be that stringent on my form, but I do make sure my arms are doing the work. There's little to no swing in my back, and again, I make sure that the biceps are handling all the weight, not the lower back. It's a pretty simple exercise. You're going to start here. I like to keep some tension on the biceps. Some guys will lean a little bit forward and take the weight off. I'm a big believer in time under tension, so even at the bottom of the end of the exercise, I'm still having tension on the bar. I'm going to start down here. I'm going to curl the weight up here. Now, one big thing you're going to notice is that my elbows aren't moving forward and back. I'm letting my arms do all the work. And again, what we tend to see sometimes, even when people aren't swinging their back a lot, is their elbows will come up like this. Now, the biggest problem with that, guys, is weights, free weights, are always going to be pulling to the floor. That might sound like a simple principle, but gravity's always pulling the weight straight down. And so when you come out and you kick your elbows up too far, once you get this point and your forearms are straight up and down, you've now taken the load off of the biceps and transferred it onto your front delts. So right here, I could do this all day with my biceps, or rather with my front delts. It's not doing anything for my biceps. So we don't want to get this high up, and we do tend to see that a lot. Again, we'll see guys come here and bring the elbows forward. That's not something we want to do. We want to keep our arms down in this position, reach the top, give it a good squeeze, back down, up, back down. Now you notice a little bit of a swing on my upper body. It's just kind of a natural motion, but again, I'm not over exaggerating it, and I'm not using momentum or my lower back to get this weight up. Just a nice easy motion, up, down. Let your biceps do the work, and again, keep tension throughout the whole range of motion. All right, the next exercise we're going to focus on here is going to be the alternating dumbbell curl. Guys, the very basic principles of this exercise is going to be similar to that of the barbell curl, in that we don't want to be using our back too much. We don't want our elbows kicking forward. Essentially, his lift is the same. Using the dumbbell allows us to really turn our wrists out at the top, really concentrating on contracting that peak of the bicep. But for all essential purposes, it's a very similar lift to the barbell curl, again, just implementing a single arm strategy here. So we're going to start off, again, arms at our side, maintaining a little bit of tension. It's a little bit more difficult to keep under tension the entire time. You'd have to have your palms turned upwards and holding the weight like this. So sometimes with an alternating dumbbell curl, I'm not quite putting my arms under the same amount of tension at the bottom end of the lift as I am the barbell curl. That being said, we're going to start here. The lift is going to look very similar to the barbell curl in form. Again, arms going to come up. You're not going to see much movement out of my elbows. I'm getting a good contraction, stopping at the top, but again, I'm not kicking those elbows forward and taking the load off of my biceps and transferring to the shoulders. Again, strict form, always the most important thing with these exercises. All right, our next exercise in this bicep routine is going to be the hammer curl. Now there's a couple of different ways to do the hammer curls, variances with dumbbells, even with other sorts of machines. I'm going to use a cable crossover machine here with a rope. Now, if you're going to do it with dumbbells, generally speaking, guys will bring the dumbbells straight forward like this, up and in. Again, just to add a little bit of variety in, I'm going with the rope here. So again, very similar principles to your other bicep exercises, and this is going to go across the board. Now with the cable machine, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to use momentum because you have constant tension on the pulley system, but there's still a little ways to cheat, and that's something that you want to avoid. We're going to put a little bit of weight on here, stand up. Again, very similar principles to all the other exercises. I'm going to keep my arms tight at the bottom, keep tension on my biceps the entire time, keeping my elbows at my side. Just going to raise the weight up and in, get a good contraction at the top, and back down through the range of motion. All right, guys, the final exercise we're going to do here in our biceps routine for today is the preacher curl. Again, a very basic free weight exercise. It can be done in a handful of different variations. Most gyms have a preacher curl machine. It can be done one arm at a time or with the barbell. For today, I'm going to do it with an easy curl bar. Generally, a little bit easier on my wrist, especially in this particular exercise. Now, for as much as I stress form and function and using a weight you can handle in the other exercise, it's very important here in the preacher curl. If you had to point out an exercise that causes the most bicep injuries, I'd probably say it's the preacher curl, and because it's isolating the arm and all the force is coming up against the back of the arm, that's pushing back on the pad. Now, pick a weight you can choose, get your machine adjusted accordingly, get comfortable. I'm in here alone, so I'm going to pick this off by myself. Sometimes it's nice having a partner to hand you the weight in this particular exercise. The biggest thing you're going to want to focus on is making sure that the full back of your arm is on the pad. One mistake that we tend to see with preacher curls, be it machines or free weight, is guys they'll have their elbow on the pad and they'll be pivoting off their elbow like this. You don't want to do that. You want to have the meat of your arm on the back of the pad throughout the entire workout. Now, while I do always talk about full range of motion being the most effective form of weight training that you can do, with this preacher curl, you don't want to lock your arms out at the bottom. It's going to put a lot of tension on the inside of your elbows and the lower biceps. So this is one of those exercises where I'm going to stop short a little bit on the bottom end. Now, what I'm not going to do is sit here and short stroke it like this, which we see quite often with people overdoing it as far as the amount of weight they can handle. So again, found a comfortable position. I'm going to start off with a weight that I can handle, getting an inside grip on this easy curl bar, making sure that my arms are against the back of the pad, going through the full range of motion without locking out at the bottom and putting that strain on my elbows. All right, guys, and that's going to do it for our bicep workout today. We'll do a little bit of a recap. We started with our barbell curls, went to alternating dumbbell curls, over to our hammer rope curls, finished up with our preacher curls. Now, generally for beginners, I recommend 4 sets of each of the 4 exercises for a total of 16 sets. It's a good idea to hit a couple of warm-up sets before the first exercise. I wouldn't recommend any less than 2. Some guys like to go as high as 4 or 5. It's a very much an individual thing. Whatever you feel you need to do to get warmed up, to make sure you're not facing those injuries throughout the course of the workout. Now, as far as drop sets or forced reps, I train alone a lot. If you're training with a training partner, it's nice to do some forced reps at the end of each set. I do drop sets at the last set of each exercise. So per se, if I'm doing straight bar curls and I've got 120 pounds, I'll do that until I can't do it anymore. drop down to 80, do that until I can't do it anymore, drop down to 40 and do that until I'm completely fatigued and can't get another rep out. The biggest thing is making sure you're training hard, making sure you're really working that muscle, and making your time in the gym count. So that's going to do it for us, guys. We love to hear your feedback, suggestions, requests for further training videos. So make sure you jump onto the forums at musculardevelopment.com. That's where you can get your opinion heard. Let us know what you think of the videos. As always, guys, train smart, train hard, check your ego at the door. Signing off, it's David Bay from musculardevelopment.com. We'll see you next time.